We have breaking news, anybody? Lots of gossip, lots of game plans, some interweaving between the two. Gonna break it down. Three big pieces of news. Khalil Rountree versus Jamal Hill. It's set. Rafael Fiziev versus Justin Gaethje to save the co-main at 313. It's set. And John Silva versus Bryce Mitchell. It's set. Okay. So Dan Hooker is out. Okay, this is horrible news. UFC 313 co-main event for a couple of days was in absolute jeopardy. I mean, people were throwing their names in. Okay, there were three fighters right away who were getting some traction for their attempt to be the backup here. We have Fiziev, we have Gamrot, we have Money Moicano. I was really hoping for some reason, even though it was very unlikely, that Moicano would be the one who steps in. You know, Arman Sarukian had something to say to Dan Hooker, who had some comments for Arman when he pulled out of his fight with Islam. You know, he said some not nice things. Like, what did he say? He said something about how his dad should have pulled out early as well. Something so weird. And is it karma? Because, you know, Dan Hooker giving Arman some trash for pulling out, and now he's pulling out. A little bit different of a case, a little bit different of an injury, not exactly the day before. And luckily, we found a replacement. So three really top-level guys threw their name into the mix. Fiziev, Gamrot, Moicano, they all have their different justifications for why. I was feeling pretty hyped up about Moicano as a diehard fan myself, and knowing that in the last fight, since it ended so quickly, he didn't take a lot of damage. But they've been trying to book Fiziev for a while now. And that fight with Justin was pretty close. So, breaking news. So, you're welcome. I created this updated fight poster to be more accurate. We have Gaethje versus Fiziev. Okay, the rematch. It's booked. And, you know, his arm almost slides into Dan Hooker's arm there. Everything else is, yeah, I would say that this is top level production quality. Go ahead and, you know, print this. We're ready to go. The hamster wheel in the corner there is just kind of how I feel. More breaking news. We have another exciting fight booking. Okay, we can't get enough. We can't get enough. And it's UFC 314, so can't get enough. That card is completely stacked to the top. And we have Gene Silva, who just made a call out to Bryce Mitchell. He just made this call out. And Dana was loving it. He said yes. And it's booked. Is this the move? What do you think of this? Is this where you want to see John Silva next against Bryce Mitchell? I think this will be a, you know, we have somebody who has a lot of support and somebody who has very little. Should be a bit of a drama event. Bryce Mitchell has already, you know, clapped back and said a few words himself, which I don't think he's got a lot of room to be talking, but a lot of people are hype on John Silva, you know, tied Jose Aldo for the most stoppages at featherweight, so that is pretty great. I think personally that it is a really good call out. I think that'll be a really good fight. I'm hoping that Gene Silva really gets it done in a definitive way, and that one should be a good one. So that's booked. Not gossip. This is game plan. We have two game plans in a row. So, unranked Seattle winner. You may know him by Ion Cutelaba rather than unranked Seattle winner, but that's fine. Okay. And he once fought Khalil Rountree as a veteran in the game, and he, for some reason, wants to run it back. So, Ion Cutelaba won that first fight against Khalil Rountree. Like, he knocked him out, so it's a really weird thing to say. I think he's just on an insane high right now. He wants to just, you know, no stone left unturned in this guy's mind. And his quote is, at Khalil Rountree, "I'm giving you a chance at a rematch. Last time I beat you like a child," which is, that is a horrible thing to say. What a weirdo. Certified weirdo, certified yikes. I personally don't think that this is what the fans were thinking, and that is why it's absolutely not happening. So, unfortunately, for Ion Cutelaba, Khalil Rountree is already booked. Okay, this is breaking news. He is booked against Jamal Hill. Okay, I'm not the one breaking the news, but it's still breaking. And we're going Kansas City. Okay, Jamal Hill versus Khalil Rountree is set to headline And you can go and check out Jamal's YouTube channel, get his thoughts on it and his announcement of the fight. So sorry, Hulk. Yeah, the Khalil Rountree rematch, if that's going to happen, it's not happening next. No, it's not. Not for a while, I guess now, right? That'll set them to be staggeringly not ready to, in the shape to fight each other. But I don't think anybody, is that what you were asking for? Let me know if that's what you were asking for. I like this better, personally. I think that I would rather see Jamal Hill versus Khalil Rountree. I really like this little bit of upcoming. We have another night at the Apex this weekend, and we have somebody, a very special somebody, Charles Johnson, who's a little frustrated as being number 12 in the flyweight division. He is not, for some reason, on the main card. He's not even, I don't even believe he is the featured prelim, despite having a very illustrious career and performance, last performance against Josh Van, knocking him out, and this is his reward. I think that Josh Van is on the main card of Fight Night coming in a week or so that's kind of interesting. Little incorrect math. And Charles Johnson is definitely frustrated by this, okay? As many people are confused by the placement of the fight. And his quote is, "I don't have anything against it, but I look at the opportunities the other guys get when they come from a promotion like Risen from Eternal, but what are those promotions compared to LFA that has had hundreds of not only ranked guys, but a plethora of champions?" So he said this during his interview with E. Spencer Kite for UFC.com. He goes on to say, "I'm a 3-time champion from that promotion. Why am I not getting an opportunity when I'm on a 3-fight winning streak, 4-fight winning streak? Okay? Give me a chance," he says. Oh, yes. I think that after this, because unfortunately, what's done is done, that he better get a chance. He better get a top 5, okay? If it goes his way, of course. So I suspect it will. I suspect it will go his way. Are you frustrated? Are you frustrated on behalf of our friend Charles Johnson? More importantly, given that the main event is a highly contended flyweight matchup, wouldn't it just, for the sake of drama, make sense to put Charles on the main card or featured prelim? That's all right. No, it's not. But it's what we have. And we have, speaking of UFC Vegas 103, right? We have some media day stuff. Can I get a history? Can I get a snap for a history? First ever Kazakh to main event, a UFC event, okay? So he's going to be the main, obviously, against Kopp, and that is historical. So it could have been Shavkat, almost was Shavkat. It's not quite, perhaps in the incoming future, but here we go, Kazakhstan. So let's give some snaps for that. He was a little bit of a sasser at, he was respectful, but he was a bit sassy. He says that he didn't watch Kopp's last fight, so that's not very respect. That's not being a student of the game. Who else? Kopp himself was a little sassy. Look at that outfit. Look at that outfit. He says he's happy to have a shorter opponent. He was going to have Brandon Royval, who is a super lengthy guy, one of the most lengthy guys in the division. Now he's got someone shorter, and he says he likes that. He also says he likes a long fight. He likes a fight that is 5 rounds. He said that he would request a 5-round fight, even if it wasn't the main event. I don't think that's wise, but to each his own. And I love that. Love that energy, though. I respect that. I respect wanting to go for the long fight, preferring to really show what you're capable of. Because, when you're mowing people down, when you're finishing them right away, perhaps we never really know what your heart can do and really what your tool set can do as well when you're dealing with that adversity. I think we kind of saw a bit of a case of this with Tatiana Suarez. With Tatiana Suarez, many people were convinced, she was the uncrowned champion, that she was just going to mow down Weili because she had been mowing people down, but perhaps not facing a lot of adversity in those early fights didn't really set her up to deal with the adversity against Weili and cause a little bit of added frustration. So Kopp's embracing of the adversity, I feel, is just a really good sign, and it really shows in, I feel like, his performance, that he has that mindset, that willingness to take a round or two to learn and study your opponent and then dial it up. And I can't wait. Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see the cardio test. I really do think this is going to be a 5-round fight, if not 4. I think it will head its way into the championship rounds, and I think Koppa's going to help manufacture that by playing with his food, perhaps, although I do think it will be very competitive, for sure. And Julian Marquez. We got so much great insight from this man, and he is funny. So he gave the Apex a little bit of hype, like, oh, it's not so bad, and then immediately compared it to fighting in a barn. Yeah. Oh, it's not so bad, it's fighting in a barn. Although the way he was putting it, fighting in a barn sounds pretty cool. And he says he has fought in a barn. And he says to ask Lorisenko. Those country people love him. So, he's going against Cody Brundage, friend. Not a best friend, but a friend, But this is business, no hate. And as he puts it, training is grueling, but fighting is fun. And he had such a great attitude. I mean, look at his face. You can see what a sweetie he is. He really gave a lot of great insight, about the fight game in general, coming off of a couple losses. A lot of people think that's, once you lose, then you're just dead weight to some. It's simply not true. Fighting a friend, and sure, a lot of people want to ask, like, oh, so do you feel like you're going to know his style? And Julian's perception, I feel like is pretty wise. In training, ideally, you're losing a lot. You're taking risks that perhaps you wouldn't take necessarily in a fight to learn. You aren't going to the death. So to keep yourself healthy, obviously, you aren't pushing yourself to the absolute limit, which you do get to do in a fight. So yeah, you learn some things about your opponent when you train with them, but by no means do you have a roadmap to what they're going to do and what they're capable of. So that's the exciting aspect of it. Don't think there'll be a lot of hesitation there. He really knows what's at stake. Julian's aware that both of them are kind of fighting for their spot in the UFC right now. Fun fact, he does not listen to music. He very avidly says he doesn't care or doesn't listen to music. That's weird to me. And as a result, he walked out to a Miley Cyrus song one time because someone else picked it, and I think that's a fun result. Does this mean that when he's on an airplane that he just sits there and looks forward at the seat? Because those are the kind of people that terrify me. I rarely see them in the wild. Yes, Julian is just such a fun guy, and he is such a go-getter. He really puts himself on the line in there in his fights, and that's exactly what's going to happen against Cody Brundage, another down-to-earth, amazing individual. So we thought he was done. We thought perhaps Cody Brundage was out for the count, that he was going to exit the fight game and enter the game of coach. And he thought about that. And he thought for a while. He thought that this was it. But he said, hey, after rallying with his team, he realized, I think I've got a little bit more in me, but he's taking it fight by fight. He's on the last fight of his deal. Julian is on a 3-fight losing streak. Both guys are really going to have to put themselves on the line here, but he's also, I feel like, in a really good headspace with that perspective that if this is his last fight, even if he wins, it could be his last fight, and that's all right. Kind of reevaluating it as he goes. Because, he realized after taking a step away how much he missed it, how much fighting really brings him joy, and he needed a break, okay? Fought 6 times in 14 months. I don't think so. That's not good for you. Kevin Holland has taken his fair share of damage in that way himself. Sometimes you got to take a step back. And now we're back, and we're back in the co-main, and that's very cool. I think some people, for some reason, think this fight doesn't belong in the co-main event. I strongly disagree. We're going to see some real heart out there. 2 people who are very aware of themselves, what's at stake, and there's just so much respect. Taking it day by day. I respect that. I respect them both. You got to remove, as Cody was saying, you got to remove yourself from the result. I really valued that insight. Win or lose, removing yourself. 15 1-minute fights. That's how he likes to look at it. Because it's scary being in that cage. And sometimes the idea of thinking about going through all 3 rounds at once is, no, that's horrible. So instead, how about 15 1-minute fights? It applies to so many things in life, really. And yes, he admits to being afraid, and this being a great strategy to combat that. So great guy. Got to give a shout out to his wife. Give a shout out to his daughter, young little girl, okay? She is just 4 years old, and she has a rare genetic condition, and she has been going through treatment. So, as Cody put it, she's in her own fight camp. And that's very motivating for him that he's really got something to fight for. I can't imagine having a toddler in general and having a toddler who is going through such a tumultuous experience, having to try to explain something like that, get it, as you're saying, get a child to sit still to go through all of these things. Oh my goodness, it was of course something that brought up a lot of emotion because what a experience full of turmoil. And I'm wishing them the best. I'm wishing his daughter a recovery. I'm wishing for rainbows and sunshines for this man and his family. He really deserves it. Send him some love if you haven't already. What a guy. Some other media day fun. Esteban Ribovic, he is contento. He was looking chill. He had his mullet. He had his camo matching jacket and pants denim. That was something. His last fight was in the Sphere, and he's going to be fighting in the Apex. Oh my gosh, talk about withdraw. He's going to be going from the highest high to, in some ways, a pretty low in terms of engagement. And yeah, so that's, I'm sure he'll put on a great performance either way, but how many people have had that, right? How many people have went from the Sphere to the Apex as their next event? Has anyone else from the card been transitioned in that way? So at least he's got a lot of hype around him. So yeah, he's content. And he's aiming to fight 3 times this year. Don't support that. I say keep it at 2, but maybe it's the mullet. He's feeling free. Everybody's got a mullet. And of course, Nasrat, who is such a veteran in the game. He is a sweetheart. He really showed the veteran that he is, just so respectful, appreciative. He's excited to fight someone who he feels is in his generation, in terms of age, but he definitely has the experience on him, but he's just excited for some young guns to go get scrapping. And I love that. So no trash talk, a real combat fan. He says he watches the weigh-ins of random events. What a dreamer. I'm a dreamer myself. And he was blinged out. Okay. Is anybody a watch person? Can you let me know what he was wearing if you know? Because that looked blinged out. With the sweater and the light faded jeans. Yeah. He knew what he was doing. He knew that he was looking good. And he was. And that's going to be great. A little UFC 315 press conference disaster. I think it was a little bit of a disaster. I mean, translation-wise, there were so many things that were being said in French that weren't translated on either way, and I'm very, very curious on both sides. There were things that questions that were being asked that I didn't get, but that's okay. And then I feel like more importantly though, when there was some conversation that they were trying to facilitate between Valentina and Manon, and it just wasn't happening. It just fell apart because they didn't know Manon, she only speaks French, and Valentina doesn't speak French, and it was yes. So, but there's a little bit of drama because go back in time, Fior was saying that she's going to put Valentina into retirement, which is kind of a disrespectful statement, if you ask me. And she was going with that, and Val, she kind of flips the script on her and says, okay, well, if you lose, then you retire. And she was kind of trying to bring that up. Just kind of fell apart. But yeah, and that's what she was saying in her interview with Mike Bond, MMA Junkie, shout out, was that it was hard to understand what she was saying at the presser. A little bit of a disaster there. So anyway, somebody asked a really great question to Valentina if she had any advice to give Jasmine regarding Andrade. And that's why I had that cute little picture of them laughing over there, because that is a cute and good question. Didn't really get an answer there. Okay, now this is news. Okay, so right now it's technically gossip. It's technically gossip because the person who broke the news is like, I need to remain anonymous to protect my life in case this isn't true. But it's very, very likely. It's very, very likely that this is true. Okay, Corey Sandhagen versus Davison Figueiredo. UFC Des Moines. Okay, will you be there? I will. UFC Des Moines, let's go Iowa. This is everything. I am a massive Corey Sandhagen fan. If there's one thing about me, I love Corey Sandhagen. He's on my wall of fame. I love his sass. I love his class. And I love that left hand. Okay? And Davison Figueiredo, let's talk about heart. Let's talk about grit. Let's talk about skill. That is going to be fireworks. Oh my gosh, of the highest degree. We got a top 5 matchup. Oh my goodness. Hello, Des Moines. Corey Sandhagen, he's not from Des Moines, but he is so Des Moines, in my opinion. That man might as well be from Des Moines. And I mean that, again, as a compliment. Really looking forward to that. Okay. Wow. That's going to be great. Who do you think will win? How? Who is going to come out on top of that matchup? Corey Sandhagen, Davison Figueiredo. I'm thinking Corey Sandhagen, of course. But how? That is the question. Moving to some Izzy. Great YouTube channel. Check him out. I'm sure you have already. He's a fun guy. Fun, silly guy. And, he's got a humble take right now. He's not expecting to be champion again. Do I have a title shot in mind for the future? No. I'll say this. When I got to the UFC, I never chased the belt. I expected it. I expected to get to this point that I wanted to get to because of the work I had put in and the mindset, the belief. I knew that everything I did, I was going to get it. And I think he's chilled out a little bit since then. And he achieved it. So why not chill out, right? Yeah. And on some related Izzy news, DC thinks that he wants to see Izzy or Robert go against Anthony Hernandez. What do you think of this? Do you think Fluffy should go against our two legends who are, in some people's minds, maybe on the down or on their way out? I'm not sure I agree that they're on their way out, but what do you think? Who should Fluffy fight next? Who do you think Fluffy should fight next? A lot of people in the middleweight division to put him up against, and I feel like even if he got a title shot, people wouldn't be mad, right? Do you think Izzy? Do you think Robert Whittaker? Do you think Bobby Knuckles? Well, Bobby Knuckles doesn't think so. Bobby Knuckles, no, okay, it's not that far, but Bobby was saying that he wants to fight Sean, and that would be the most likely fight to make. So again, this is gossip. This is not game plan. This is not booked. We've not booked Sean Strickland, Robert Whittaker, but that's what Robert Whittaker wants. That's what he thinks would be a good matchup, a good fight for him. What do you think about that? I think I like that. I think that I like Robert Whittaker versus Strickland more than I would like Whittaker versus Fluffy. Let me know. All right, more bookings. Juliana Peña is set to defend her title against number 2 Kayla Harrison at UFC 316 in New Jersey. Oh, New Jersey, huh? Interesting. Yes, so this is game plan, and here it is. And are you excited? Are you floored as I am? Are you shaking in your boots? I am team Peña, even though I love Kayla Harrison, and I think that she is so incredible, so inspiring. They are both on my wall. I just think Peña's got that dog in her. She has got that dog, and the thing is that her mindset, when it comes to adversity, I believe in it. And she knows how many people are not believing in her, and we know what happened last time, okay? Last time people didn't believe in her. Yeah, so either way, though, that is going to be violent. That will be a violent fight with a violent end, I suspect. Dominick Cruz will be coming back to the broadcast table, and he's coming back perhaps to honor his legendary brain with some special attention. It's just going to be him and John. So it's been a while. I don't remember the last time that they did this. They do not do this often, where they have a 2-man booth. We got a 2-man booth, and we got Dominic, and we got John. And I just love that. So UFC Fight Night 253, keep your eyes out. It's coming up, right? Very soon. You'll see these two gentlemen. And who else do we have booked? If you're curious, Heidi is going to be there. Love her. Absolute queen. She slays. She is got that delivery. Joe Martinez. Okay. Because are we at the Apex? Probably, right? If it's Joe. And then Kamaru Usman. Giving his desk analyst stuff. I actually appreciate Kamaru in that position. What about you? If you ask me, this is bad news. I don't want to know that Dana White is in support of Merab and Sean O'Malley running it back. I've said this before, and I will say it again. I don't want to see that. I don't need to see that. If we're going to do a rematch, let's do Piotr, but I just don't want to see them either. And Dana's quote is, they want to fight each other. I think people want to see it. I'm one of the people who doesn't. Are you one of the people who does? I respect and value your opinion if you are. And so let me know. It's just not the fight for me. It was a snuff. It was damage and it was abuse. And do I need to run it back and see it again? Now I just have two things that are not news. They are, I don't know how to classify them. This one I would classify as jump scare. Michael Chandler is in a wig, and I'm sure that you can guess who it is that he is cosplaying as. I'm uncomfortable. Oh, God. Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah. Okay. It's very weird. I want to know what you all think inspired this. Um, yeah. Anyway, one more thing. Okay, this is confusing me. There's two things. One, Alex wrestling in the snow. Just thought that was cute. And the other thing is, I don't think this is real because it looks like it's not real. And yeah, it just reads as fake news. But you have this photo where Alex has money in his hand, and then you have a guy smiling next to a little handful of cash, and it says that Alex Pereira handed this fan money. Chad level insult when he thinks you're homeless, but you just wanted to glaze. Yeah, I don't think it's real, but I just think it's funny. Is it real? Somebody help. Did he actually give a fan money when they were like, hey, like, he's like, here's some money? What a weirdo. If he did, what a weirdo. But that's it. 3 breaking news stories and some other really important stuff. Some rundown from the media day that we just had for our fight night coming up this weekend at the Boo Apex. We have some UFC 315. We have gossip. We have game plan, and it's all right here in this bookshelf. But I translated it from the bookshelf out here, so you'll get to hear it in the form of voice. That makes no sense. Okay.